Hello, my name is Bruce Lombardo, and you're here with our channel for Tablebreakers, episode 40-something, because there's a current quandary about pneumatics, and I don't care. It's Thursday night. This week sucks. I'm with my friends, Chimerian, Baron G-Rock, Connell the Cigar DM, Shadow and Sun, and Jade, and I'm down here staring at a pile of miniatures that need to get finished. I'd like to welcome you guys all to the discussion where we are going to discuss the various things and implements we use to run our games with. And those could be very low tech, those could be very high tech. But those things could be something that you might see as a necessity and add to your own repertoire, your own toolbox, and it make it easier for you to run your game. My name is Bruce. I'd like to start tonight off and welcome my panelists tonight. Jade, how are you?
I'm doing great. I had a nice meal not too long ago. Kind of arrived late with everyone, so apologize for that.
I empathize with you because often I am running in here starkly naked, turning on PC, turning on Power Strip, running back to closet, stumbling through apartment, getting on shorts, coming over here, turning on lights and cabling things properly, then running back for shirt because can't be on TV bare chested, that sort of thing, and I exactly.
Nobody wants to see that, Connell.
Nobody wants to see that. Nobody at all wants to see my luxurious braids of what I do with my under hair. All right. Shadow and Sun, how are you today?
Well, it depends on who you ask.
Okay, well, I was actually asking you, how are you today?
I'm awesome. Had a great day. Working on crafts and painting and trying not to tackle the pile of shame in my garage, which literally is cubic meters upon cubic meters of unopened boxes of miniatures I need to give away. So hit that sub button for me, guys, will you? I hit 500 and I'm dropping a ton of that crap off to you guys.
I'm going to put your link out in chat right now. That way we can get a little bit of algorithmic joy towards you.
Appreciate it.
It's in the description.
I know, but just in case we have people that have about as much initiative as I do right now, which I feel like a bag of apples, not really moving much. So there's the link in the channel description or in the channel chat for Shadow and Sun. Please go subscribe. Connell?
I had a pretty good day. I had lunch at Club Cabaret.
Club Chub.
Club Chub. It was a business meeting.
Oh, what did the Strippers Guild have to say to you?
The Strippers Guild is willing to pay me about enough to make roughly about $5,000 a month for cooking for a client.
You're not making enough money, dude. Neither am I, but I mean, I'm just saying, you live in Illinois, your taxes are worse.
Yeah, I'll be filing my own taxes. But yeah, it's been a productive day. I mean, who can say no to steak, booze, and strippers? I know I can't.
It might very possibly well be 47.
It might be 147. I don't know.
All right.
You can edit that later. Not a big deal.
Yeah, tonight we're together. That's what I give a shit about.
Is
Baron G-Rock, how are you?
I'm doing fine. How are you?
Aside from the fact that I woke up like a voice actor, but like not quite as cool or sexy, I was fine. But I could have been better. I did get a new avatar. It looks like Zeus, which I actually need to redo that or have that redone. But I need to be standing in front of the miniature case and then just grabbing a miniature and squeezing it to death, like what happened on Argos. But that really doesn't help me figure out how you are. The question was for you, sir.
I'm doing okay. Just got him from the airport. Y'all got a nice airport.
Peoria?
No, it's a joke. Anyways, yeah. No, it was all right. It was a pretty good day. There was not as much craziness as normal, so I was okay with that. I actually got to call some people, so that was good. Got to hawk some insurance, so yeah, that's always fun.
Yeah, you're in that salesman lifestyle. So you and
Oh, yeah.
Crafty, you're going to be having competitions here before too long.
Meh. No, because he works with car sales.
I know. Travis J1975 says, I sold a house today. Back when I bought it, I paid $66,000. When I sold it today and signed off for it, it was $185K. 12-year turnaround. That, my friend, is like a 6%. Ooh, that's like a shit. That's a 12% plus. Yeah, 12 or 11% on the interest per year. Good job, man.
Yeah, let's hope the projected housing market crash doesn't actually become a thing.
It will.
Yeah, I know.
I mean,
Just trying to be hopeful.
we have to have it actually because we haven't had a crash, and we can't have a market that's never endured. We have to have a market that's tested.
Yeah, our house is worth a considerable amount, and I don't want to see it drop, or I'll never get the hell out of here.
Yeah. Omanal hits on the head. 300% increase is a problem for buying a new house, and that's what I'm facing right now. Houses that were $85,000 back 7 years ago, are now $185,000, and they're
Where
not.
the hell is that? You can't. Where I
Texas.
live, you can't buy a house for less than $500,000.
Texas, but I'm not gonna pay a fucking $500,000. I mean, I might cut up a bunch of bankers and sell our parts to China, but I won't fucking pay $500,000 for that shit. No.
Oh, I'm actually hoping that ours goes even higher. That way I can buy two when I get the hell out of here.
Travis says, "Come up to Idaho, Shadow." And seriously, Idaho's cheap as shit. It's really cheap.
Yeah, but Bruce doesn't live in Idaho. See, I want to move to Texas so I can bother the shit out of Bruce on a regular basis. I'm tired of doing games online. I want to be able to be there in person and give him a hard time.
Travis says, "I'm buying 38 acres in central Idaho for $250K. Nice. The economy
That is nice.
Housing doesn't drop. COVID's ruined a lot of savings accounts. Yeah, it's crazy." And Omanal says, "I paid $350,000 for 36 acres, and people are sniffing around to buy land." Yes, that's exactly what's going on. If you have a shed, somebody from California will tell you how many lawnmowers can I put in there because I want to buy it from you for over $50,000. It's crazy. And we get to the first panelist tonight, which I'll be inquiring about as to what you use for your tables. Mr. Chimerian, the driver himself.
Oh,
How are you tonight?
I'm alive. That's about it. Beyond that, we'll see.
You're not coming down with anything, I hope.
I could show you photos of what I've been doing this week, but it's the same thing I did last week. It's just a different location.
Right. And honestly, all I do is overthink things. And yeah, I mean, I know in our private little Discord chat, you get to see what a hint of my randomness that I would get. Yeah.
One of these days, I'm just going to be bored and turn on the fucking mic and camera, and I'm going to start talking about things, reading what you've written, and giving people food for thought, because Kai's not there to speak to the camera for himself, so I will do it.
Hey, do it. Honestly, I write it, but I don't say it very well.
You know, I'm not a great speaker my own self. I'm about as good as Obama.
Yeah, speak.
Oh, please do not denigrate yourself like that.
I say the word 40 times a day.
Yeah, speak word
Better than
hard.
40 times an hour.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Being as you pumpkin hard, I want to make sure that we get you completely pumped out for tonight's topic, and we might even go into other topic. But this first topic here is, whenever you run a game, and you run a game quite frequently. You might run a couple games a week. What exactly do you use as your own personal Rary's mnemonic enhancer?
Well, I will use, let's see, run down the list. Music, books, audio books, anything I can get my hands on. Graph paper, hex paper, notepads. I always have at least two little scratch books in my pocket that I will write random thoughts and notes onto. And then I just throw them. I bounce them off people and then come back. I have calculators. It's really hard to narrow it all down to tools. Yes, all of them. I mean, yes, this Monday I managed to convince players that yes, you need to know calculus and geometry to be able to figure out, travel, to calculate time on target equations to figure out how to, or how to organize a complex system which involved a whiteboard, graph paper, people sitting here going, wait, and then trying to figure out a prototype of a Feynman diagram on figuring out at what point shit interacts with each other and when information and knowledge is being able to reach certain people at certain times, and then make it all kind of fit together into this big thing, and then having people go, could you run that through me? And then go, let me go through the foundational basics again, and then sitting here on a whiteboard drawing like crazy, and then going, now do you understand what I've drawn here? So yes, notepads, whatever you got. I mean, and it's like, yeah, the tools might just simply, yes, calculators come out, notepads, everything. I mean, it's everything is being used.
Well, the reason why I was asking that is because when you're running a game, like, do you use? Go ahead.
I mean, I have about a half dozen of these, each with a different topic. Usually, like this one's blank right now, but like in my gaming book backpack, there's like about half dozen to a dozen of these kind of notepads that are on each individual topic that I'm, each enemy, each group that I'm working with. I'll sit there at truck stops or when I'm running dispatch desk, just sit there and write down random thoughts and then erase, pare down, and just keep working and just keep running through because the tools I created 12 years ago are garbage. You got to keep refining, keep pushing it forward. Anyway, yes.
When you created tools 12 years ago, did they help you out?
Yes, then it did. And then I realized, I made some bad assumptions. As I learned more, I realized I made some bad choices, bad assumptions, and I pushed that forward. And I go, okay, how can I make this a more interesting, more useful? Or the rule set changes, or a house rule goes, that house rule worked 12 years ago, but it doesn't work today because play testing happened, also known as as campaigns occur. So
I didn't mean to stop your train of thought there. I was saying, okay.
No, I'm leaving it open because I know I could just ramble for a while, but I'm leaving it open for something else rather than just me talking.
Okay. You use notebooks for the most part, and those are what you are your primary now.
Yes.
Back 12 years ago, when I first met you, what were you using?
Same things, but I was also looking. I used a lot more official published material, and then had notes saying what adaptations I was going to use on. Because once you start using something, you'll figure out what doesn't work, what items don't function properly. So you just kind of keep fitting them together and go, well, no, that math makes no sense. Rewrite the rules, rewrite the math. Because honestly, most people don't write very well. Like I jokingly wrote some elsewhere, like my house rules are usually inspired by an event that I'm trying to like reverse engineer how it happened, so I can figure out is this an interesting idea, and then keep working backwards, or I'll just sit down and go, I'm going to start writing, and then I'll start writing something up, and then go, now how do I want this to work, and then start figuring out the math, figuring out the equations, figuring out what feats might work. It's like it's a very organic process where you start with, where's my note? Where's my little green notebook that I write everything in? There we go.
The fact that he has one of these almost within arm's reach. People who game, I want you to note this extensively. Be very ergonomic with what you're doing from your DM chair.
I mean, it's what you're following through the the idea of the desires, goals, intentions, concepts, plans, and actions theory here, where I desire something interesting. Start figuring out, figure out the goal of how I want to implement it. Now start figuring out the various aspects of how that will work, and then go, okay, that didn't work. And keep being flexible and then you keep working your way down to finally when you put it into implementation. By this point, your players think you're a genius because they haven't seen the fractal of hell that you've walked through up to this point. Or you could just save time and just go buy an official manual and from a company and go, I have a book. I have a book. It's called G.I. Joe. I don't need to think anymore. And suddenly your players, it's like, so you get what?
Knowing is half the battle.
It is. The other half is extreme violence. So, but
Nope.
the thing is like you could cheat and go, well, there's an official tool, there's a game for every, there's a proper tool for every single thing you do, and a game for everything you want to do. It's a better game than what you have. But the thing is that, well, infinite money doesn't exist. I don't know everything. Sure. Yes, I can go and say, yeah, I splurged because I wanted to have a bit of my 80s nostalgia in my on my shelf for fun. I ain't ever gonna play this game. But the thing is that but there are people who just go, well, I bought a book. I don't need to think anymore because all my rules are right there. Hell, I love Ultimate Campaign, which is just Kingmaker refined, but boy, it is not good enough. Even with some of the third-party expansion packs, it's not good enough. It wasn't a good enough tool. For the most people, it is what you need. And the thing is that it's not good enough for me. It's not good enough for my players because they ask questions that aren't in the book. And the moment they ask questions, you got to be able to be on your feet and thinking about how to make that possible, because the rules are often very poorly written, or they're written for people who don't think past step, like on a to Z plan, they're on plan B, and they haven't thought anything past that. They haven't thought about any of that part. So the tools you need are really, and the thing is that these tools might be an ambient music to help put someone in the mood. That a tool that you might be using is writing asides. If you're reading a book, there's always like a good book. You'll get like an aside of like what's happening elsewhere simultaneously, and giving players access to a little bit of the actual general narrative is happening elsewhere. It's like, meanwhile at the Legion of Doom, or meanwhile the gang members are off having their little evil plan somewhere, or the fixer is off having a plan with something else. You're working you're kind of making the game like it's a tool, so that way when players go, oh hey, what's going on elsewhere, you can go, hey, here's a bit of story for you. Here's a bit of that, so that way they can feel the general narrative that they're part of, that they're part of a bigger game. It's a tool that I use to get them to be playing the game better, or at least be engaged, be thinking about the game more than just simply a set of mechanics that are just walking around a map. and when they're just waiting for me to go, combat is initiated. Proceed to murder or be murdered. There you go.
Now, if you want to add more later on, Kai, just kind of like signify to us that you want to speak up.
No problem.
I do want people to kind of like give a warning flag, like, hey, I want to add something here. And I don't want to, I apologize about barging in on you. And
No problem.
I've gotten a lot of complaints lately is that we were stepping on each other during these videos. We're doing, look, quote unquote, super professional. We look like a bunch of assholes from the Midwest. And I'm like,
We are assholes from Midwest.
you are.
Have they not watched anybody else's show with other people on it?
Most other people don't have 6 individuals. I'll just say that.
I can think of one that has 10, and you can't hear anybody ever. And it's going to happen.
It is. I want to go over one to Mr. Garrett because I want the people to think about what Blaine just said. And his main tool, before we go into Garrett, his main tool is notebook, pen. He'll use other stuff. Yeah, that's great. It always gets written in the book.
Little notepad. That's it.
That's about it. Baron G-Rock.
I tend to do some other things. So some of the stuff that I use is.
Do I need to give you some space here on the real estate here?
No,
Okay.
you're fine. Some of the stuff that I use, I will use several different sites that have pre-done up type things. Trying to find the one I was thinking of. For instance, treasure generators. I'll look and see what they actually are and go from there. There's also a few sites out there where you can, set up what adventure that you're looking at. So you can, essentially, I like doing the quest board. They roll into a town. There's a quest board. These people need this stuff done. And typically when I'm doing it, I play a lot of it off the cuff. I don't spend hours and hours and hours, going through meticulous detail because that meticulous detail survives until the first player says, I don't want to do that. We're going over here. And then your entire game just for the night just gets set to the side because you've set and planned out for the entire thing. This is what it is. I know where point A is. I know where point B, where they need to get to is, and then we just kind of follow the road as we need to get there. And I use a lot of those type of tables and random monster encounters, even random dungeon generators to because there's a lot of the players that have been through a lot of different scenarios and or have played a lot of different packs and stuff like that where they have a problem separating the player knowledge from the character knowledge sometimes. Because that happens. You can only run Temple of Elemental Evil so many times and so many editions before you're like, yep, here goes the frogs. Yep. That's not going to be good. There's a drop. Okay. But, because it's all, even though the stats are different, it's all basically set the same framework. Okay. Basically, same framework, different train pushing. So I like to essentially look at it. I also know, what kind of big bad they're facing. So they may get, find, a couple of +1 scores here and there. I'm not like, when I do the treasure generator, 9 times out of 10, they decide they want to give them everything in sync. I hold off on that because, it's, I try to hold that back a little bit. I may give them a little bit more of the gold or, I may swap the silver for the copper, whatever. But it's the thing is that I find that running it that way with using the different tables, different websites that I have, things like that, that it actually makes everything move quickly because they have to think on their feet and keep going. It's not necessarily, they're having battles. For instance, I'm going to use the last campaign that I ran. You can see it, see this on my channel. It was Pathfinder First Ed, and I'll hold off there because Skeletor has to make his first appearance of the stream.
What? What?
You got stuff to read.
I have been summoned. Paladins of the Plains for $2. $1.99. Character creation has ceremonious. Paladins of the Plains, that's if you wish to elaborate, you may go ahead and throw a free message out there, and I will continue my duty. Thank you.
You said duty.
Did you get yours yet, Bruce?
I have not. Talk to me about it after I get paid Friday, and I head over there Saturday.
All right. Like I say, I find that it works out a lot better for the gameplay, and it's more organic. So they were in a jungle, and they got it was on watch. I was rolling. God bless the cleric. He rolled incorrectly, so she got bit on the butt by a giant ant. It just happened. The thing is that for them to get into the place they need to go, they need to climb down a well. You'd be surprised at first level characters if they miss the climb check, which is 15. They miss the climb check. They fall 40 feet. And they only have so many hit points. They go splat.
That sounds like to me they made a successful gravity check.
Yes. Very successful gravity check. So I mean the best thing is I with me myself, I tend to fall back on those. There's a few other books that I'll pull stuff out of just because it's fun, especially if we're doing like an urban type city. I'll pull out the Ptolus book, the 3035 Ptolus book. There are 1,000,001 things in there that you can actually pull in and throw things into your game that you may never see again. So that's a great book if you do as this is what a large town looks like. And you can run an entire 1 to 20th level and beyond in that whole city. You can have part-time adventurers. Just for the simple fact of there's just so much to do.
Wasn't there a group of adventurers called the Part-Timers?
Yes. And every time that they would go to a table, sit down, the resident wizard who always seemed to be there would pull out the sign and take applications.
Interesting.
All right, Shadow or Skeletor, you can take a break. Connell, you run on a regular basis multiple campaigns. Before I get into the question with you, if you could just give a small, like a dissertation, because Kai, we know, runs a game for students at a location of higher learning. It might not succeed, but they try. Kai, you're muted.
Location redacted.
So, Connell, what groups do you have in play right now?
I have 2 games I get paid for to run. They're held at a private game shop. Then I have my Monday campaign, which is just me and a group of other DMs. They're just putts around Monday. Every other month, everybody play. How should I put this? There's 3 DMs, and we all run our same game on a Monday, but we just take turns. What Monday is more is yours? Like this coming Monday is Josh's. The next Monday is mine. Then Finn's, and it just does like that. So I don't have to be a forever DM on Mondays, which I highly appreciate for those. Those who've been forever DMs can understand that issue. Or I've been DMing way too long. I need to be in a game. And on the paid ones I get for, I DM for 2 different groups. Mixed bag for my Rise of the Rune Lord one, and I have another group that I am basically retelling the legendary stories of Xena. And none of the players seem to get it. I've even made a few Bruce Campbell cameos, and they still didn't get it. But that's not against them because they were all, raising kids and had better things to do with their life than watch TV on a Saturday.
Connell?
Yes.
If you played a game and set it at Morningside Funeral Home, would your players be aware of what danger awaits them?
The female group, yes. The mixed bag group, probably not.
Okay. All right.
Private game shop and at a brothel for cigar coming soon at table topless. That's good. That's good. I like that. It's not the case, but I wouldn't mind. There's more than one way to get lucky with the dice, I guess. But tools that I use is basically the question is asked. Is this like the tools that I do to set up, why I'm gaming, or just all together?
Kind of all together. Like if you are doing something during the week and you have a eureka moment, you got to scribble down 5 lines. Like, what do you use it on? What do you put it on? Do you email it to yourself? Do you just make a simple note on yellow sticky and throw that in your DMG? Do you say prayers to Monty Cook so that he will come back to Wizards of the Coast and make a proper game? Or, what do you usually do?
I'm kind of on the same school link as Kai. I use notebooks. I use lots and lots and lots of notebooks. If I'm driving and have that, oh God, I could do that to them. I'm going to make healing potions addictive. If they drink 1 too many a day, they suffer con damage. No, not short term, but long term. No, I'll use the message. I'll use my iPhone that will record what I'm thinking, and I will decantate my answers on my phone, and that's what I use. Or set up. Depends on what kind of DM you are. To be honest, some people thrive on the madness that is the game. On the making sure they have if you use miniatures, all the maps, all the charts, all the notes that you have. I kind of like the madness to a certain degree, but I need to relax. I need to have that 5-minute moment where I'm lighting a cigar and smoking it. That's why I call myself the cigar DM, because it helps me calm down, think about what I want to say, how I want to say it. And if I move this trap goes like this, how many of these poor suckers am I going to get? Because lightning bolt's a hell of a trick. So I use things. If you're not into cigars, that's fine. You're wrong, but that's fine. But there are things out there you can do to relax yourself. Some people prefer music. Music just hypes me up more, so I don't use it. So other than the physical stuff, I showed you the notebook, pencils, and stuff like that, and I make sure I have my miniatures. I just go with the flow. The best tool a DM could have is patience. Best tool a player can have is patience for their DM, because sometimes roles will fuck you no matter what.
El says something of a derogatory nature toward Saint Monty Cook. This is why we never see his face. He couldn't say Monty Cook returning to D&D with a straight face. Ha! El, you have no idea how much reverence I have for the man who has fallen from grace. He used to be a gaming god, and then he made his own system, and he took Sean K. Reynolds, who's kind of like that guy. And they went off and they made Numenor and a bunch of other stuff for the Cypher system. I find him to be boring now. I don't find Cypher to be the game I want to play. It's kind of like a newer version of GURPS. I'm not sorry. If you're going to have a universal system, in my opinion, the perfect universal system would be Hero. I feel that's probably a game system that not many people here will really enjoy. It's very complex. The books will break your foot if you drop it on your naked toe. Goodbye, toe. This is more of a volumetric game than D&D. I don't know who Sean. I think Sean was married to a young lady out of. I could remember her face, and she used to design bikinis for female bodybuilders. But she dressed up one year and showed off her little figure as the barbarian girl from Pathfinder. And that's how I recognize her. And then Sean and her got married, and they moved to Indiana to change the electorate. Literally, that was their reason. They went to Indiana to be liberals in a red state. Anyway. Illinois is right there. Go to Illinois. Okay. They would have more fun. It's Chicago. Go to Chicago. All right. Connell, whenever you're running a game, all you use is just that pen and notepad.
When I'm running, most times, I just use notebooks, paper if I'm actually at the game shop. If I am playing online, then it's Roll20 because my laptop can't handle anything else, and Beyond D&D Beyond because one of the poor daft bastards I game with has all the books, and if he's letting me have access to all the books, why not use them?
Okay. I mean, I'm not going to celebrate about that. That's just me. But
I get it. Use what you have. I mean, that's always been kind of my MO when it comes to gaming. Use what you have.
Now, I haven't asked this of Kai or Baron G-Rock yet. I'm going to ask you. When you're running a game and you want to create custom content for your game, what do you do with it? Do you write it down? Do you notate it? Do you save it?
If I am having my aha moments in the car, I'll dictate it and basically describe what I'm thinking. If I'm at home, I'll write it down and see if I can find any variation of it on the web. What it comes close to I want, because I have no problem reskinning a creature and using stats for one creature and just basically reskinning it, saying no, it's not a elf, it's Mr. Fantastic and he's cheating on his wife. Go kill him or whatever. I have no problem with reskinning pre-made characters to do and be what I want them to be.
Okay. We'll get back to those questions to Baron G-Rock and Chimerian on our second round trip through here. Shadow and Sun.
Yes.
Before you answer on things, I have a distinct feeling that you're a guy that like college rule notebook and pens
are by your spot at the table really much most of the time.
Absolutely. But speaking of pens, it was plugged for Pilot pens, the best pens out there for just absolute comfort of writing. My son and I actually, get into fist fights over these pens. They're just so much fun to use. We try to get the 4-color black, red, blue, green. Just like, I don't know if you guys remember the old Bic commercial with the 4-color pen all in one. You guys remember that? Absolutely love those pens. But then I discovered Pilots, and for a while they went out of stock everywhere, and I couldn't find them. I had to try to buy them online, and then luckily we found a place that has them. Not going to say their name because they can suck it, but they do have Pilot pens, so we use them as for literally everything. I have this weird thing. I don't like pencils, so I only use them for character stats and hit points, and that's it. I literally won't use a pencil for anything else. Plus, I never make mistakes. So, yeah, Pilot pens. But if you guys don't like them, that's cool, because that means that's more for me and my son. Because, I don't know who was buying them up besides us, but it sucked for a couple of years. We had to, use some other goofy-ass pens, and we did not enjoy that at all.
When you do your design for a game, and Ironcaster says something that's pretty important, you can go and custom order Pilot pens, and they'll add your name. They'll emboss it on each one.
Have to look into that.
Yeah. Seriously. Whenever you're running a game, you have the notepad and pen right next to you. You use, you have your stack of books next to you, or do you just kind of fly by the seat of your pants and don't even worry about the book?
Yeah, I really don't need most of my books anymore. If I have people over, I'll bring them out so that they could, have access to, the books that it's okay for them to use. But I can ad-lib and make up anything I need at the drop of a hat for the most part. Especially if it's a fantasy game, there's no real hard math or anything like that. I don't need charts or any of that crap. I don't roll randomly for almost anything anymore. There's just why. For me, it takes more time to get the book and look for the chart than I can just go, this is what's here. This is, what the weather's like. This is their reaction based on, how well the players are role playing with the NPCs. Surprise, things like that. That's a game mechanic that I'm going to roll. Initiative, depends on the actual game and the number of people. I prefer to just seat my players with the highest dexterity, clockwise. Okay, you get the highest dex, you're going first, etc., all the way down to whatever poor schlub is, got the 10 dex and they're never going first, like my paladin. But there are a lot of other tools I use that nobody has mentioned. One of my favorites, besides all the stuff that's been mentioned, Post-it notes and graph paper, notebooks aplenty, is parchment paper. Good old fashioned, get it at the stationery store or Hobby Lobby or whatever for notes and handouts. Basically, and treasure maps. I love doing that. I'll make up I'll draw it out, or write it out or whatever it is, and then I'll, maybe burn the edges to make it look, a little more weathered, and then throw it in the oven. I forget the temperature, just keep an eye on it and let it, get older and darker and more grittier, or sometimes I'll water damage it so it's hard for them to read because it would in fact be, smeared or smudged or things like that, blood drops. I love making handouts, whether they're, the parchment that I talked about, or when I play Top Secret or something like that. I'll literally go through magazines and cut out photos and make up dossiers and, fake photographs of people. This is your target, that sort of thing. So sometimes my players have actually, had to hunt down, famous people that I dislike in real life. So vicariously I get to watch them assassinate, people I don't like or kidnap them or whatever, depending on the game. And I find it really gets them into the mood of role playing, and they have things to hold on to and look at, and study and look for clues, or try to gauge the personality type by the picture I picked for the hit or the target, or things like that. It just adds a little bit more spice to the game. It may take a little more time, but I'd rather spend time doing things like that than other things I could do for preparing for a game. I also, of course, I don't know if you guys are into it, but lighting is a big deal. Last year, my son and I, almost exactly a year ago, my son and I played a two-night game of Call of Cthulhu. It was the first for him. We played the game literally in the dark, about 4 or 5 hours each night, completely in the dark. His mom thought we were absolutely crazy. He picked out 8 hours worth of ambient music for the game. He just went online and found some cool, spooky ass music, and it worked out really well. And we had a couple of, I think, like one fake electric candle and a little flashlight to use when you actually needed to look at your character sheet or to roll dice and shine the light on the dice tray. So it was, complete. It couldn't have been more theater of the mind if we had tried. There's literally nothing to look at. Just, for the most part, he had his eyes closed, I believe, during a great part of the game as he's just listening to me narrate and go through the motions and the actions. And when it came time for dice, light it up. Let's see the numbers real quick. Boom. On to the next thing. And then, of course, there's, the whole miniature side of gaming when we're not doing something like that, especially, in dungeon crawls or big combat scenes in a starship hangar or something like that. Not only do we use miniatures and dry erase boards if it's going to be like a short battle and we're going to move on. Otherwise, I'll use the Dungeons and Lasers scenery and terrain kits that we talked about earlier, and that stuff is just a lot of fun. If there's any bit of war gamer in you, or board gamer, or miniature enthusiast, it's absolutely the best way to go when it comes for actual 3D terrain on the table. It sets up very easily. It breaks down even easier. It files away because everything is just really thin plastic. I should have brought some pieces out to show, but they're like 2 by 2 square inches, whether they're walls or floors. They snap together like Legos, and it's just an absolute, modeler's dream. And maybe if we have time, Bruce will bring up some images of that stuff. Otherwise, that's pretty much just about all I use on my list here.
Okay.
I may think of other stuff, but that's kind of just about all I really need. Oh, of course, dice. I don't think anybody mentioned dice, but I prefer good old fashioned dice, and I've been using the same dice for 30 plus years. I only own like 20 dice in my whole collection.
Jesus, that is not a collection. Baron, G-Rock, you remember that army bag I had?
He's muted.
That's why I unmute. Yes, I do.
Yeah. Blaine's Chimerian's girlfriend is one that made that for me, and she had a triple lined die bag that stretched, and it worked for me for years. But then somehow somebody took hold of it. Pricks.
And stole it?
Stole it along with the bag with Tolus and a bunch of other modules in it.
That's fucked up.
Yeah, that's kind of fucked up. Okay.
You want a new bag?
What?
You want a new bag?
Not right now.
Okay.
Appreciate it. I've got a chain link chainmail bag that I'm currently using, and I really like it.
That's my bag from Disneyland back in the day, Pirates of the Caribbean. All leather, and it holds my entire collection
Nice.
with some beads and rocks and stuff like that for other things. But
Now,
yeah,
Cal says, yeah, tools, minis, and dry erase markers.
yep.
Anybody here want to talk about that, or is that not something that you guys do a whole lot?
I do it. It's a great way to get things done quick and easy.
Okay.
That was quick and easy.
That's what Jade is about to show here. He actually made me a set of these, and it is on my table.
Is that double-sided, Jade?
It is. Well, no, there's two different ones.
Okay.
One is hex, and the other is.
The very first one is double-sided. It's well over 15 years old.
But
Yeah.
yeah,
If you want to do it quick, that's the way to go. Oh, damn, that one's seen some work.
Beautiful.
plus it's got a place to put initiative, everything else down in the corner.
That's
It's
sweet.
really handy.
Who makes that?
He did.
Oh, okay.
When me and my ex-wife were living down in Charleston, Illinois, I went to go see how much something like that was to be made at the print shop that the local college had, and I described everything they want. It's pricey.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like a vinyl one's cheaper.
And the nice thing is with that one is that what I use on it is I've got the actual erasable crayons instead of the actual, and it actually comes off better and doesn't leave really a residue on it.
Yeah, so I made this in Autodesk AutoCAD. I made actually both of them in Autodesk AutoCAD, and then I went to Kinko's and printed them. The print is about $20, I think, to get it black and white printed in D size. No, actually, these are E sized. Which, if you don't know drafting terms or engineering terms of print sizes, A is your standard piece of paper. B is two standard sized pieces of papers put together, and then you just keep doubling it from there to get to the next size. But to laminate it, it costs about $30. So one of these would go for, I could make it myself for about $50. I would probably charge likely $60 for designing, basically a designing fee, and then print and laminate.
Actually, I want to say something really quick. All right, while he's doing the math, the game shop that I work at, the table has somebody has taken a ruler and wood burn all the grit onto the table.
Nice.
And I'm like, this was a nice table. Hey, we got it at Goodwill. I'm like, oh, okay.
I know all these really cool maps sound really nice, but have you ever just been like walking with friends and just had to like take a stick out and draw on the ground and with rocks figure out what's going on?
Yeah, at the beach, many a time.
Right. I know all these really high-tech, cool, expensive things are really nice. And yes, I do use the miniatures. I do use the maps. I do have, tiles and crap. But, I mean, on the fly, if you can't use whatever's around, I mean, if you can't just like run over and like grab books and like figure out, just create terrain on the fly. It's like, yeah, I mean, cool.
I mean, like we used to back in the old days.
Right, and honestly, really, like I love all these cool tools. Like really, I vinyl maps is nice, but yeah, there is a certain point of just being able to go, I have a stick. I'm drawing a quick sand table idea, so that because sometimes you don't need to have everyone being perfectly on, having it all gridded out. Sometimes you just need to give a tactical awareness, like what's around, give them an awareness of like what's around them, so they can figure out a plan, and then you can zoom in to the cool tactical map, later. It's like, but being able to just visualize fast in your head, the terrain, topography, figure out what's in the areas, and then they can go, I have a general idea, and then you can like pull them into now you're into 6-second rounds, and congratulations, go. Anyway, I'm quiet again.
Yeah, so it's a 44 by 36. So that's E-sized. I wanted to go F-size, but nobody has a laminator big enough for that. That'd be a 44 by 68.
Was it go home, go big or go home theory?
I mean, bigger than my current table. I want a nice table, and I want the battle map to fit. Well, I want the table to fit the battle map. Let's put it that way.
I don't think any of us have it, but for tool wise, I've often been amused. And this nothing against what Kai says. I kind of like the idea of old school mapping because I do a lot of drawing it out on grids. I get it. Not so much on sand because we're inside, unlike you heathens. But that's besides the point. But those tables that have a flat screen in the middle that use the maps.
Have you seen Rick from 28 millimeters homemade table that he built like that? Freaking impressive.
Yeah, but those things I always find those things absolutely gorgeous, and they have like little trays that pop out. You could put your character sheet on and whatnot.
No, this is homemade. This is not the ultimate table, which I'm actually thinking of buying to replace our dinner table. It's like a 6-foot table with pop out, like shelves or whatever, table covers. You pop them out, and there's like a 6-inch cavity, so you can roll your dice and all that crap. But they're about $2,000, and as long as my mother-in-law is living with us, she would spill something and ruin it. Something liquid would go in their soup or something, and it would just ruin the felt on the interior. So, yeah, not going to happen. Not yet.
Do I have snow up here? No, I don't have snow here.
Not here yet.
Is it?
Don't jinx it.
Is it supposed to snow?
No.
No, not right now.
I mean, I know I could walk across the street and find a different kind of snow.
Anyway.
Ice machines. Bunch of drug addicts. What do you think I was talking about?
I know where you live. I know exactly what you're talking about.
So I wanted to be last when I was discussing this, and Jade, what are the things that you use the most? When you plan, when you run a game?
So I'm going to go into the digital era because I have fully embraced the digital era. Okay. I use Google Documents. I use Google Drive. I store a lot of my notes on Google Drive because I always have my phone on me. I always have access to my Google Notes. I have spreadsheets. I've got documents. I've got PowerPoints basically, or slides. I have basically the whole 9 yards with Google Drive. I've used, I think, 7 gigabytes of storage in just gaming data from all my notes. So I've used up half my free drive for gaming. Other tools I use, I've got a lot of physical tools actually right in front of me. This is a think deck. It's just a standard deck of cards that I can draw randomly to generate monsters, to generate dungeons, adventures, scenarios. It's just a standard deck of cards, but each card has a value and a meaning to the value, as well as a suit and a meaning of the suit. Let's see here. Other things, I've got whiteboard. I've got the Gary Gygax Extraordinary Book of Names for any random names I need to make. I'm actually turning this into a spreadsheet that will literally spit out 100 names at once at me. Other things I use because I'm going into Index Card RPG are table or room numbers. So I've got little tents here that have different DC values of the rooms. So I'll set one of those on the table and be like, all right, the room DC is 10. Beat a 10 and you succeed at anything you're trying to do, or might go to a 12. Other things I use are hourglasses, like 1 minute, 3 minute, 10 minute. And I'll set those out for like role play time. Like, all right, for this scenario, you've got 10 minutes on the board. Let's see if you can do this in 10 minutes. Other things I use are physical coins for hero coins. Because again, with Index Card RPG, they have something called a hero coin system where, if you've got a hero coin, you can spend it to either roll ultimate on a effort or re-roll your last D20 roll, whatever the case might be. I've got, like I said, I've got so many just tools, implements, like a height. This is Dr. Wizard's patented elevation indicator, and it's just a stand that you can put your mini on, and it's got markers on it that you can put at different elevations to show the elevation. I'll put that back up there. You can find this online. Again, that's Dr. Wizard's patented elevation indicator. Arknight came out with spell templates. I'll use these on a table because they're the appropriate size.
I love those. Those are amazing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, these are really good product. Again, that's let's see here. You make sure I'm saying that one correctly. That is Arknight, as in knight in shining armor. You can find these on the website there. I also do use sketch pads. I use pencils. I don't really use pens because I will go back and erase things and put something else in its place if it doesn't fit correctly. But for the most part, I use digital tools. I mean, yes, I have a lot of physical tools around me at all times that I can just, pull onto the table and plop down and be like, all right, your DC is 12 and you've got 3 minutes. But, I really do use the digital tools for specifically me, not necessarily the game. Unless I'm running an adventure path for like Pathfinder. If I'm running an adventure path, I will read through the entire adventure path, module by module, in its entirety, and I will pull out literally every piece of experience points that are supposed to be given for story or combat. I'll pull out every single piece of loot or gear, anything that has value, and I will put it into a Google spreadsheet. And Connell can attest to this. On that Google spreadsheet, I have given access to a master loot list that reads from my master sheet. And as the players find things, I just hit a checkbox that says, yes, they found this. And it appears in the loot list. And they can go talk amongst themselves, away from the table, at the table, whatever. And they'll always have access to it because I've shared the Google sheet with them. And they each have their own master list of the gear they have from the loot list. I went that far with it. So when they say, yeah, I want that item, they can just put their name by the item in the Google spreadsheet, and it appears on their personal lists showing that they have it. And I have all the tags in there to say what it is, where it came from, when they got it. It really worked out pretty well for Wrath of the Righteous module set because, I was able to, I didn't have to think about loot. It was already completely done. All I had to do was click a checkbox and it appeared on the list, and they got to discuss who got what, and then they could say, we're going to mark that for sale. And I would, at the end of the week, before the next game, I would hit sell, sell all, and the cash values would instantly go into their individual character sheet accounts, so to say. And then those items would no longer be accessible at all. So yeah, lots of digital tools for me, as well as Roll20, other VTTs. I've been trying to experiment with Owlbear Rodeo. I did the subscription service for Roll20. Huh?
Have you tried D20 Pro?
I have not tried that one yet. That is on my list, but Index Card RPG just got a new VTT going that I'm going to test out first, to see what kind of viability is there and what I can do and use with it. Other things I use is like Ink Arnet. I said that purposely wrong. It's Incarnate, but it's Ink Arnet. Is a digital mapping tool I use. Dungeon Fog, obviously. Don John's random generators. I've got a list over here. I also go to the free information resources, like for 3.0 and 5.0, you can go to d20srd.org. For Pathfinder, you can go to d20pfsrd.com. And you can, look through all of the character options, all the monsters and whatnot. Those are a lot of the tools I use. I haven't bought a monster manual in I don't know how long, because they're all online. All of the monsters I want to use for Pathfinder or D&D, either one, they're online. I don't need a monster manual anymore. I also don't necessarily need the books. I don't need them. I've got all I need to access right here on my phone, and not even in PDF, just on websites. So these are the tools I use pretty frequently whenever I'm building a campaign, running a campaign, or even making my own characters for a campaign. I'll go to these resources and pull from those.
Okay. I before I started running with the current game world that I have right now, which is Lost Lands, and it has a really nice, they've got a really nice tapestry behind me where I sit in my living room. I was using this thing in the chat that I typed in there, Hexographer, which, if you like making hex maps, hello, my hex crawl friends. It's free. They have free versions of it, I should say. They have a really good paid version, too. It's like $84. You can do battle mats, you can do ends, you can make all sorts of stuff, like to the point where it gets redonkulous. But it's good. That was what I was using before. Nowadays, I just use hex paper that I buy from gamingpaper.com. And I know I probably could just make my own with a couple dollars over at the office store. But Gaming Paper sells stuff that I like, so I go to Gaming Paper. And then I use index cards. I use various sheets for index cards. I have some 5.5 by 8s. I have some 3 by 5s. And those are it. That's what you guys have been playing with since I started running my game. That's it. Whenever I need to change something, I'll have notations on index cards, and then whenever that portion is ended, I fold up everything and tuck it all together within the folder, and that's where it goes. I'm a very, very basic DM. I have a simple system to where I remember where I put things in the green folder, which I have. But it's almost like I never graduated high school, because I still have things from my habits from high school where I would just put things in the green folder for D&D, and that was it. And here I am at 47. I'm doing stuff I did when I was 30 years younger. But that's it. And that's the tools I use for that game. Whenever I am doing any sort of initiative, I have an initiative tracker
off to the camera. I'll use that. I've used the magnetic ones before from Paizo. They're really good. Paizo does have some good things. The next thing I do want to grab is actually, I don't want to have to buy it. I'm just going to make out of construction paper some spell templates because I like the spell templates so much. And it works out so well. And here before too long, you're not going to have a grid that you can see where all the figures neatly fit on the map. It's just going to be this. Because whenever I run a game, that's it. That's how I want to run. I don't want to have grids. I want to have you guys just kind of not know what's going on with exact footage. That right there, 30-foot fireball. Is that a 20-foot or 30-foot?
This is a 20-foot radius fireball. It actually even says on it 8d6 fireball. This is for this. So this was the 5e set, so it's got the 5e rules on it. So it's fireball, 3rd level, 8d6 fire, dex save for half, 150-foot range, or storm sphere is the equivalent of this. And it's a 4th level spell. Area is difficult terrain, strength save for 2d6, bludgeoning damage each turn. Bonus ranged spell attack for 4d6 lightning. Advantage if target is inside sphere, 150-foot range. So this actually has the text of the simplified text of the spell around the outside, which is kind of why I like this one. So.
And yes,
I don't play.
That's from Arc Knight.
Yep, Arc Knight.
We are, for the most part, from what I've noticed in our gaming styles, I was expecting everybody to like have like the brand new what's its. This is my automatic die roller. This is the app I use for my Note 10 phone where we do all the stuff, and then I just kind of look up from my phone and I tell you what happens. No, nobody does that. Everybody's even 5e guy. Well, yeah, Jade, but I mean, even you do a very good job of using it efficiently, but you take care of your players. I've listened to your game streams. Connell, he's a 5e guy, and he's using College Rule Notebook. Blaine and Shadow, College Rule Notebooks. Little flip spiral pocket thing. It just simple stuff. And I'm not saying we're fantastic dungeon masters. We've been doing this for a while. We know what works for us.
Bruce, I wanted to shout out a company that I think everybody here can actually benefit from. And Friday or Saturday when you go shopping at the Dollar Tree or your local dollar store, if you don't have a Dollar Tree, but I recommend Dollar Tree because they are a chain and they regularly restock a lot of the same stuff. You know, they get new stuff, but especially around the holidays, you know, for you miniature guys and crafters and things like that, they have an absolute treasure trove of items as well as a fully dedicated craft aisle with all kinds of useful tools for all of our, you know, crafting and miniature hobby things. One thing they do have that I think you might like, in addition to all the stuff, you'll fill up a basket easily. So, you know, bring $20 when you go at least. They have these, I kid you not, laser pointers for $1.25 so that you can get those on target line of sight issues down pat. They're about, I kid you not, maybe 2 inches long, and you know you're not going to use them a lot. And you know if the battery dies, just go buy another one. But it's got like a laser beam and like a flashlight, which you'll probably never use, but you might want to grab one, just throw it on your keychain. But it's something I just passed as I went downstairs and came back up. I've got like half a dozen of them hanging from one of my pegs, and you know, so that you can get that line of sight, especially if you do any wargaming and whatnot. I see them at Miniature Market, Army Painter, and other places like that. They sell them for $10 to $20, and they're no different. They're boom. You put it down at miniature level, you push the button, and if it lines up, it lines up. I suppose you could tape them to other things and use them in a pinch if you needed to, but for the most part, even if you're just going for notebooks and index cards and rulers and things like that, hit up your local Dollar Tree. You will not be sorry. Other than you might run out of money. They just so many good things in that place. Every crafter I know, that's like their arsenal. That's where they store all their stuff until they buy it. Basically, Dollar Tree. I go there every single week when I can, and without fail, I find something new every time. Those are cool. Yeah, there's a lot of companies that are making things like that. There's another company that makes kind of bigger ones, but I have a lot of the old battle mats and floor cards, if you will, from way back in the earliest of days. Yeah, I have that too. I've got some of those for sale. The Pathfinder ones, because I'll never use them. I've got all the old Citadel, Games Workshop, and some even from before that era. I've got a set of cardboard floors that are probably 40 years old, and they're still good. The artwork isn't as good as today, but there's so many of those companies out there. And if you play any board games or tabletop like sort of war games and things like that,
yeah,
my collection of floors from Shadows of Brimstone alone is like this tall if you stacked them all up from Shadows of Brimstone alone. And I'll break those out. I'm probably doing a Halloween game, and I've got this old Haunted Mansion set of floors from Citadel that I'm going to be hopefully running a Halloween game for my son's friends, like the day before Halloween, if I can manage it. And we're going to do the whole haunted house thing. Whenever they find treasure, it's going to be candy. And depending on how much candy you have at the end of the night will determine the winner, just so they can stay safe and, not have to deal with, the crap that's going on these days, especially fentanyl. That's starting to pop up at my son's school. So I'm like, no, just bring your friends over here, and we'll have a good, wholesome horror game. Dungeons and Dragons in a haunted house, and make the best of it, because we got to get the little guys playing D&D or whatever role playing game of your choice. We've got to absolutely recruit these guys into the hobby, or it will go entirely digital and eventually just be just a memory because of all the video games that are going to come out that will just take over the hobby.
I can agree with that. Blaine, come here in.
Sorry, man.
What?
Connor wanted to say something.
Was there something you were trying to say there?
I absolutely forgot. I don't know anymore.
Okay.
Sorry,
there was for game prep, Chimerian. What do you find yourself going to whenever you're at home, like the most for game prep? You just go like to your shelf of movies and you just go to that? Okay. Your library. And
I also am a huge fan of these wonderful audiobooks things that are able to pipe a myriad of books to me while I drive, and then I can sit back and go, or the movie collection upstairs, or whatever else I'm streaming or watching, and then go, what I would like to have possible? What's that? Why don't we have a rule for putting a gun barrel under somebody's chin and pulling the trigger? Huh? The RoboCop rule. That part where the spike comes out of your wrist and they go under the to the brain pan. That's called coup de grace. No. I want to be faster, more cooler, and more cinematic. Okay, well, how do we start figuring this shit out? And then go, okay, cool. Now we can just figure this shit out. I mean, or I listen to some cool music and go, how would I have 30 men hold off an entire army? Or how would I do that? Make this scenario look really cool? How do I make this more like? How do I make 10,000 zombies beatable by some poor schmucks? How do I fill in the blank and you just reverse engineer? Because honestly, or do you look at The Martian and go, well, how do I encourage some people to science the fuck out of this? To use some creativity rather than just simply a pile of shitty stats. They just kind of go, I roll my mechanical bullshit. Now I win. No, I want some I need to know all this shit so that way I can throw the complications at them. I don't want to be in the middle of a game and have to go, yes, I do know all the websites exist. I do know all the wikis exist. Boy, do I use them, yes. But I can't have in the middle of a session being, guys, could you stop for a minute while I pull open one of my 18,000 PDFs, please, so I can work on this? No, I got to sit there and go, okay, so you guys plan on burning down an entire city block because you want to, kill as many of the monsters as possible so you can disrupt the hive mind. I need to be able to understand the mechanics of the hive mind before it gets to that point, so that way it sounds like it's smooth. My players don't need to see me freaking out. They don't need to see me spending 6 days beforehand trying to figure out how to make an interesting event. My players are going to go in a weird direction, so I need to figure out how to be. I need to be a good enough player to beat this shit. So yeah, I might be listening to a music playlist. I might listen to an audio book or reading a manual or trying to figure out, open up whatever new current manual I need to figure out so that way I can this may never come up. But I want to. But if a player goes, hey, I want to steal a galleon, I can go, I'm already ahead of you. Or I want to build a war golem, I'm already ahead of you. I want to do this, gotcha. And it could just run without me having to sit back and go, well, you can't do that because reasons. No. If my players do some really cool acrobatic shit, kick somebody and then blow their brains out by doing the John Wick barrel to forehead pull trigger. Well, that one is D8 damage. No, fuck you. It causes death. I'm sorry. Bullet to brain pan equals death. Much like, I'm a 20th level character. Your head's on a chopping block. Axe goes through neck. You die. But I have, doesn't matter, dead. Why? Story.
Physics, reality.
Fuck your rules. Things happen.
I'm sorry, Mr. Stormcloak.
What was that?
I'm sorry, Mr. Stormcloak. You're going to die now.
Right. But I'm the most amazing hero of the entire universe, and doesn't matter. Shit goes wrong. How I said it online, which is such heroic nonsense where you blow someone's head off because you know what? Fuck it, you're on top. Bam. Because yeah, shit happens, and it's like fuck this whole beanbaggy shit. But this is shit you shop around. You think about. This is where I'm currently trying to figure out: do I want to run through a system of forcing my players through the use of note cards to go? No, you don't. I'm sorry. I'm not going to say out to everyone. Bob took 45 points of damage, and Gavin took 32. He's bleeding and he's down. You all know this because you have God's eye points of view of their current status effects. No, I want people to have to actually play the, oh, fuck, I'm hit, I'm hurt bad, and the cleric who's 45 feet away. If you don't spend your, yelling it, well, I put inflection. No, have you tried yelling across the room to someone 30 feet away from you? Fuck no. There's no subtlety. There's no variation in your tone. You're just fucking yelling it across the building. And oh wait, but now we're playing a game where where there's combat, people are screaming, there's dying going on, there's a fireball going off because the wizard's a fucking prick, but somehow the archer who's 120 feet in the back is sitting here able to get perfect pinpoint combat feedback from the fighter who's 200 feet ahead of him. It's a combat fucking battle. It's like net-centric warrior bullshit going on here. You're all on fucking battle comps, and that archer's like, I know how to pinpoint accurate kill. And the cleric is able to go, I have God's eye point of view, like they're fucking aliens shit. That's why I'm trying to figure out ways of making that different, because you know what? I don't care. I want a game where it's fucking miserable and you don't know someone's dying. Or, I'm sorry, how long does he have till he bleeds out? I don't know. Are you there? No. Then fucking go over there and do some fucking triage. I run over there and cast a heal spell. Was that enough? I don't know. Someone tell me. Are you not dying? Do you need more healing? Yeah, actually, I still have. Could you pull a? Yeah, I want something a bit more fucking visceral. I want some points where it's not just simply a mechanical bullshit game. But I'm back to being quiet.
Okay. Garrett, was there anything you wanted to dovetail? You and Kai were the first two guinea pigs in the cage today. So I want to go through the two of you and make sure we got everything before we continue forth.
Well, one thing to also remember, if you do your own types of crafts, maybe make your own terrain or your own templates, one thing to also remember, the best time to go buy supplies is during back to school time. Because you can get those nice kind of thick plastic folders that you can make all kinds of templates and everything else out of for dirt cheap. You can get those notebooks dirt cheap. You can get a lot of stuff for a very low cost and be able to turn them into templates, or even if you're doing like miniature games, stuff like that. You can turn and use those and make little bases to move all of those folks in one shot. I've seen that. There was a guy, he's no longer with us, but he used to be at the game store all the time. His name was Dave Seary. That man was one of the craftiest people I've ever seen, as in taking things that he could, essentially take a plastic folder and make something amazing out of it. Yeah. And it was just phenomenal to sit and watch him work, because he'd have his little X-Acto knife and a little cutting board that he brought in with him. They'd set down some wood, he'd set down, and he would just X-Acto knife all these shapes and everything else out for everything. And it's just, sometimes it's just the little things that you do that you make yourself that help you. You don't necessarily need to go, find every website out there that's got a random, generator. I happen to have those. I know how I run my stuff. You don't have to have a piece of paper that has everything. Maybe you like making tables up. You can sit and make tables of your heart's content that you can just roll on, and then you can just, have all kinds of fun with your players. The amounts of tools that you can bring to the actual table are, for the most part, limitless, because you're only, basically you're limited by your imagination. Is the easiest way to put it. So if you can imagine it and you can kind of piece it together, figure out how to piece it together, you're golden. That was about all I had.
I remember watching Dave Serene work, because I would go over to the game store in Washington, and he seemed to be calling Kip over there and just enjoying the hell out of himself. He was a real nice guy. He wasn't, quote unquote, a simple man. He had a very complex personality. He had a lot of good ideas, and he had been a few places and seen a few things. He was just a real good guy to to be able to mine for ideas. And that was something I really enjoyed about the game store in Washington. I know John had to close it. I wish he didn't, but I get it.
It also helped that he was actually one of the original founders of Judges Guild, and you got to pick his brain about a bunch of old shit too.
Yeah, he was the one of the guys. You'd see him in a lot of the 1981 and 1980 products out of Judges Guild. You could find Dave Serene's name there, and him, Janelle Jacquets, and a bunch of the others that were non-Bloodsaw people. Not that the Bloodsaws are bad, okay? But, I mean, I'm just saying that was kind of like a family business. Everybody, if you were a Bloodsaw, you were kind of involved with Bob's Judges Guild. And it was kind of cool for that. But Dave had a lot of talent, and he brought it to the table. No matter what table it was at, no matter where that table was at, he would be more than happy to just let you mine him for ideas, because there was plenty of times where you would be there at the store, and I'd come sit down next to you, and I'd listen. Or I'd be there first, just letting Dave ramble on about the days at Judges Guild. And I mean, a lot of the things that happened with Gary, cocaine, kind of happened with Bob Bloodsaw at that same time. I don't know what it was, but the 80s. But like, if you were successful, oh shit, your nostrils better look out, because you're gonna hit it with nose candy really hard. But that was the 80s. Okay. Garrett, I guess I should turn over the host duties to you so you can go for the second portion of this.
Didn't Connell want to say something?
Connell, yeah, my bad.
I was just, you were talking about the laser pointers earlier, and I actually kind of forgot, made me think about it. I'm old fashioned. We have yarn. If it's in a straight line and doesn't, bend or whatever, you have line of sight. If it bends or makes some kind of funky shape, sorry, Haas, you don't see shit. You're like a penguin, and you see snow.
I see snow and penguins.
Oh no!
What if your penguin talks like Bob Saget in Farce of the Penguins?
Then you might get to roll again. No, I want a not Doctor Who. I want a Mrs. Doubtfire penguin. Hello, everybody. Oh no. But no, I like use yarn or stuff like that. Because I'm colorblind and lasers. Unless it's a red tip, I wouldn't see it anyways.
Yeah, they are red.
Right.
And for a buck, it's just cool as shit.
I don't know. I'm a fashion of just using yarn. I mean, that also just you can say how big the fireball is by it's this big, and it makes a circle. And so I'm kind of old school in certain ways. And the other part I just kind of forgot about. So we can move on.
Okay. Garrett, figure I'd toss it to you for the second round.
I forgot the second round.
The second part was about strippers at the stripper gate.
No,
you gotta get. Well, hold on. Just import Kyle's or Chimerian's folder here for all the stuff about the Strippers Guild, and we can just put that on autopilot.
Yeah, pretty much.
And I'm autopilot.
Okay, so we've talked about the DM side of it and everything else. What tools do you encourage your players to bring to the table? And what tools do you are okay and not okay? This is we've talked about this a little bit in the past, because the DMs, we have our toolbox. The players tend to have their own type of toolboxes, that stuff that they bring, their favorite dice, beyond the normal things of the character sheet and dice. And actually, I think we're going to start in reverse order this time, and start with Jay, actually.
Dun dun dun.
If I was going to say, if he's sitting there.
This is
Yeah,
not
I'm here.
what.
So what tools for players?
What tools do you allow your players to bring in order to help them?
Well,
Or-
I do
or-
allow.
Or what tools you can do either. It's kind of a twofold. What do you bring? What you allow them to bring, and what don't you allow them to bring?
It depends on the game. If it's a World of Darkness or a dice pool game, I don't really allow a lot of extra items. Just your character sheet, just your pencil or pen, just your dice. You don't really need anything else. Maybe your own journal if if we're playing Hunter, the whatever. If you want to have a hunter's journal of lore for your monsters, go for it. But if we're playing Dungeons and Dragons or any variant therein, I would say your phone is fine if you need to look up the effects of a spell or feat. But my caveat to that is, why don't you have that written down somewhere? Why don't you have spell cards? Why don't you have a little brief paragraph of what your spell does on the spell sheet? That's what those are there for. You've got a whole college rule notebook. Why aren't you just copying that out? Or better yet, because we have all of these online tools, you can make a spell list from Google Documents, and I've shown people how to do this, where they can literally go to Google Documents and plug in just a URL link into a spreadsheet, and it gives the entire list of spells, and then they can pull from that into their own list and print those off and carry them with them. For Index Card RPG, I allow the PDFs that I pass out to be on the phones, because I will clip pages from certain PDFs that I own, and I will clip them all together into one PDF, and I'll pass those out for the table use, or I'll print the packets, and those will be available for the table. Other things for players to bring would be your personal food, your personal snacks, if the game table allows you to eat and drink at the table. Bring a positive attitude. Bring a team attitude with you when you come through that door. Don't come in with this really shitty, I want to burn the world down attitude, because that serves no one but yourself, and that's very selfish. I've seen a lot of those players more recently come up than in previous. Like, they used to be, they're nothing new, but come ready to play the game and come ready to have fun. If you are determined not to have fun, don't show up. Just don't. Just tell the game master you're not feeling it tonight, that you need a time for yourself because you've had a shitty day. Just don't show up. So that's me.
Okay. Connell.
What do I tell people to bring? What do I allow people to bring? There's a better question. If it is at the game shop, you are allowed your handbook for 5e, and you're allowed one other book. Of course, bring your dice and pencils. Please bring your own paper for taking notes. Please keep in mind that there is other people around you, so if you decide to eat something, it does not offend or the oral senses of other people. No stinky cheese.
I like stinky.
I know, so do I. Those are the things please bring pencils, not pens. I don't want, have to print out a new character sheet because you're perfect and you think you could use a pen. I do allow people to use a Hero Lab if they have a laptop or a tablet. Because I use it, and I'm a big fan of what's good for the goose is good for the gander. What else do I allow? I do not allow people to bring guests unless they're playing. I don't want to see your girlfriend. I don't want to see your husband. I don't want to see the person who tickles your fancy. And unless they're playing, please don't come to the table. I don't need any more interruptions than the herding of cats that gaming is. Then that's basically it. I mean, I know I sound like an ass, but it's just works for me.
And that's the thing is that everybody allows certain things at their table, and what you allow at your table to what Jade allows at his table to what Kai allows at his to what Shadow, Bruce, even myself. It's all going to be different, but it all depends on the tools that they're actually working with and bringing also. So kind of keep this trainer rolling. Shadow.
Well, back in the day, we encourage party favors. Just going to leave that there. But hygiene is another one. Do not come to my table reeking of smelly cheese if you haven't brought smelly cheese. GM bribes are still a thing, and I'm not going to do anything to discourage that, especially for those of you who work your asses off to provide a great game. In the old days, if you were going to someone's house, you did not come empty-handed. And I think the same should be when you're going to someone's house to play a game, especially if they have a girlfriend or wife and they're not playing. You damn well better bring some flowers. Otherwise, that game's going to not really keep happening at that location. But if you're the guy to bring the flowers the first time, make sure someone else brings them the next time, or a bottle of wine or something. Go, here, this is for you. You're putting up with our crap. Okay? The way we did things in the old days really need to come back, especially the couple of tips I just, dropped for you guys. And maybe bring the party size bag of chips instead of just the single serve bag of chips, because sometimes there's going to be somebody there who just, maybe they couldn't make it to the shop, or the store, or, and, maybe bring like $5 in case people want to chip in on a pizza, otherwise I think, I really don't have anything to add, and I don't want to take away from anybody else that's going to go after me. But I'm pretty old school in that respect. And yeah, like I said, bribes for the GM, bribes for the GM's wife or girlfriend, and encourage that behavior with your fellow gamers. The game will last longer because not all of us are blessed with significant others who are into it, and they got to just put up with it for 4, 6, 8 hours, sometimes multiple times a week, sometimes multiple, times a month, whatever. But, make it a pleasant experience for everybody. And I think Kai's asleep.
No, he's not.
Sure.
You're doing some heavy contemplation.
But that's it. Just, bring your best manners, bring your best behavior, and, bring something for the missus.
Okay. Very good. Yeah. Kai! So, what do you allow? What don't you allow?
People sleeping at a table.
Fuck no. If you can fall asleep at my table, you're allowed to sleep. My God. If you can sleep, you're allowed to sleep. And if anyone fucks with you while you're sleeping, I will break your knees for them. You don't fuck with someone who's sleeping.
I'm gonna go take more naps over at Kai's.
Yeah. You'll be safe. But God damn it, Because like I said, if you've been working and you get a power nap, a little 5, 10 minute, 20 minute, 30 minute, 5-hour nap, fuck yeah. Yeah, go ahead. It's okay. I'm not gonna be like, well, you're supposed to be fucking awake at my game. Fuck you, I worked a 10-hour shift today. Eat a dick. And yeah. And they're like, well, that isn't I still demand you fuck you and the horse you rode in on. I needed a power nap. Fuck off. And yeah. But as for what fuck it. If my players come with everything under the sun, more power to them. If they come with nothing, we'll accommodate. Hell, I like the fact that these days, if you use the right program, you can write your character sheet at home and then access it on your phone. I demand paper only. Whatever. You have a phone, use it. You have a laptop, use it. You have a tablet, use it. I don't have any miniatures. Fuck, I've got several hundred. The guy I'm hosting with, we got several hundred. We don't need a specific thing. Hell, half the time it's like the bad guy is a repurposed 40K Terminator. That's a bad guy right now. This is another miniature. Or, hey, we need some ships. Go grab things and put them on table. Players just need to show up. If they come up with anything extra, awesome. If they draw me trump cards, awesome. If they put extra effort in, awesome. I give them a little. I don't want bribes. The bribe is if they put some more effort in. That's what I want. Is I want to see players go, hey, I drew some artwork. Hey, I found some cool music. Hey, I put some thought and some backstory. Hey, I want to go do this thing. Fuck yes, you're now being more you brought yourself. The tool I want you to bring is your ability to remember shit from one week to the next. That's all I fucking want. That's all I fucking need you to do. I don't have my dice. So what? I've got several hundred you can use. Between everybody at this table, we got several mountains for you to use. I have a character sheet. Did you upload it up to the server? Yeah? Fucking pull up. But it's not updated. Oh, what do you do? Add some +1s randomly. Okay, cool. But I don't know all my money yet. Trust me. Hey, accountant. What? How much money did everybody have left? This much? There you go. There's your money. But it's like play by ear and then audit yourself. Wait, you guys need to audit myself? I'm not the IRS, or am I? Oh, don't get creative with your accounting. Just be within a ballpark.
Don't make me think that like you're cheating the fucking table.
Because trust me, if an audit is called, and boy, I don't call audits, players call audits, and then the auditing comes out, and everything grinds to a fucking halt. And you better hope you're within 10% of what is now of what everyone else's numbers are roughly about. Because if you start going out there, bad things happen. And that comes from all things. Gold, experience points, other things. If you start fudging your numbers, you're fucking with me. And that's part of the bring a good attitude, and make sure your shit's up to date. That's all. That's all you gotta do. That's all you gotta bring. And because of the fact that I provide access to every book you could ever desire, need, want. So it isn't one of these, well, buy your own book. No, you're all poor. I know you're all poor. I've been in your shoes. I've been a poor. Boy, have I been a poor person. And yeah, so when I say I've given you access to 85, 90% of the books under creation, and the wiki provides the other 10%, use them. Please use them. Dear God, use them. Please don't be a boring person. I provide you the tools. You use them. I want you to. I want you to go, holy shit, and then create something really awesome. I want that. So that way I can go, and now it's time to show you what happens when the guy who's overly sparkly, who's covered head to toe in awesome gear, shows up to show you what you really should have done. Oh, fuck. Yup. Bad things are about to happen. And that's what I want. I want the ability to throw the universe at them and have them go, oops, And yeah, that's honestly all I want is just players to show up and be engaged. That's all. That's all you gotta do. That's all tools you need. Every other tool, and yes, that makes it kind of like the Snap-on or Matco of GMs, where it's like, if you trust me, the catalog is vast. If you invest your time, because that's all you gotta do, invest your time to learn. Everything's available to you. So many specialist tools. Go. Enjoy. And ask me, hey, there's something that wasn't covered. Do tell. Do tell. Tell me. And then they go and have fun. That's all.
Okay, yeah, having fun is definitely the main point of the game. So whatever atmosphere that you do, and sometimes you do have to control that atmosphere just for the simple fact of, so you don't have people like going off in left field, or they're playing on Facebook instead of playing the game, stuff like that. You know, if you can keep their attention wrapped on it, yes. And yes, Kai does actually, he has a 15-member team of H&R Block there for the audit. That is just for the initial audit. Then you actually have the revenue people come in and actually double check that audit. So there's another 30 people behind that. So it gets really messy. We try not to have an audit call. No.
Look, look, you cross the corp, you pay the price. That's all.
If I really want to audit somebody, I call Jeff Kopech, and if that makes you shudder,
yes,
what he used to do for a living for the state of Illinois, you're thinking you're going to be doing some creative note taking. I'm going to fudge those numbers. He will have you dead to rights. So
glad you guys don't know my real name.
People like him are exactly why I got to the point where I was that meticulous with my numbers. And why it's like, and everybody goes, I don't believe you're right. And I'm like, you want to audit? And they're like, oh shit. And I'm like, come on, call this. Because this goes both ways. Because I'm going to reverse it on you too. This is like Uno. Fucking, this goes back at you, motherfucker. And yeah. So therefore, yes, it is to make a counterintelligence team that goes, oh no, you're fucked, bro. Go.
I love Kopech. He's a good guy. He's getting older. I don't know how he's doing now. I haven't seen him in over 12 years, but he was a good guy that when I had him. And he's one of these guys that whenever you have a Traveler game, Kopech will magically appear, ask if he can run his broker character for you, and then once the broker character is authorized by the storyteller or the GM, all of a sudden, here comes this wheeled dolly coming in with pages and reams of spreadsheets, and this fucker has not updated to electronic media. Nope. He starts graphing things out by hand.
And then you go from point A to point B, and then back and forth. And we're like, well, we want to go here. No, there's nothing we can buy or sell there. We're going here to here until then he gets, and then he gets glued to a bulkhead, and his banjo gets taken away, and then he cries.
I miss that man. I think I haven't seen him in almost 2 years. So God only knows,
Sounds like we need to reach out to him.
All right. Last but not least, Bruce, what do you do and do you don't? Bad English all the way around. So what do you allow and what don't you allow at your table for their types of tools that they're allowed to bring in order to help them with the game?
I heavily recommend things, but I don't say you can't use Hero Lab. For fuck's sake, 90% of Pathfinder players cannot get along without Hero Labs. They are just absolutely stuck in handicap parking, and it pisses me off. I'm not fucking sympathetic about it. I mean, it's financial simple math. This is all addition. That's all this is. But if you need to use Hero Labs
fine. There are times when you can use it and you can identify where things are, but a lot of players do not know why the math exists, and they don't do the in-depth research as to figure out, why do I have such a high base damage? Why do I have such a terrible movement rate? Check your encumbrance. Why do I... And Hero Lab puts people into a position to where everything is automated, and I hate that. I would much rather you have a spiral notebook for your character sheet, and it'll have a lot of erase marks in it, or you'll just rip out a page and just copy the stuff that's pertinent for this level for your sheet, and that's it. But I don't like the electronic aids that much. I really don't, and I hate it whenever I'm running a game and there might be something important going on between me and one player, but two players over here are instead playing table tennis on their phones. I don't tell them to put your phones up. I should, but I don't. One, I run online games, and online games, it's hard to be a policeman. Like, hey, guys, can you fucking pay attention here? You know, people drop out, they put the nipple on screen, or they put themselves on mute so they don't really interact at the moment. They'll get back with you here in a minute or two because they've got things going on at the house. But online games are much more, it's not as an active service business like what it is whenever you have everybody at the table and you can use your physical presence to kind of browbeat your players into getting in line and either getting on whatever railroad you have, or at least pointing on the hex where they want to go next. Go ahead, Kai.
You mean people don't have really handwritten into the into the covers of like custom equipment and loadouts and this is old handwritten things, so that way I over here is the designated standard gearing and gear qualities, other things, other rules, just handwritten. Like, you mean players don't do this in their books to the point where they're like, where there's just shit written in every margin of the book possible with the big red letters, the phrases of "go look it up yourself" if you can't find shit, and how every page has got something written in the margins because you got to keep writing down more and more shit just so that way people don't do this. Why don't they do this? This book is ancient, but I've written all over it, and I won't give it up to anybody forever for anything.
I've just been inspired to find an arms and equipment guide for 3.0. Thanks.
It's the best book that was ever written for that thing. It really was.
Yep. Okay. That's the things that I do and I don't allow. I try not to not allow things. I already have a big pile of lists where you play a character out of this book, preferably. Have you played with me before? Then you're limited to core rulebook. That right there, 90%, 95% of Pathfinder players are like, what? How dare you? I want to play a Kitsune with this strange class out of this third-party book that everybody else but you use. I don't care.
Yeah.
I want you to play a core rulebook character because everybody else looks like characters out of here. In fact, these human things, there's like 5 or 6 different subs of humans. Like there's different races of humans. It's amazing. And then you have the very species of elves and gnomes and dwarves. I prefer you stay within those margins. I don't care what you've read somewhere else. That's great for somewhere else. And even in this world, there's other races. Once you find those races and discover them, and you're in that area and you have the chance to create a character, yeah, ask. You want to play a Ratman while you're all in the city of Bard's Gate? Cool. We've just gone into an urban thieving campaign. That's awesome. But right now you're in the middle of a war. You need to finish the war first. We can do the Ratman later. Go ahead, Jade.
If I'm limited to the core rulebook, either elf, druid, or human cleric. That's it. I don't need to be anything else but one of those two. Because those two are the absolute most broken and powerful classes and combinations of class and race in core rulebook. they are more powerful than any of the other splat books.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, and if people haven't figured out why cleric is the most powerful class, then they need to read up on those 9th level spells a little more. And if they can't figure out why a 9th level or a 9th circle casting druid isn't one of the most broken, they need to really take a look at those spell casting 9th level spells again, because holy hell, can those two get really broken really quickly?
I have a big love affair with clerics. I think clerics are like the reason why the game exists. Fighters are awesome. They help you with, they're the ugly cousin of the combat system. Mages are amazing because they give you some wonderful fiction for the aspiring Harry Potter to do. But the clerics are the ones that keep your table together because they're at the end of, or middle to end of every battle, patching up your players, making sure everybody, all the characters, all the heroes are getting put back together. There's Baron G Rock just having a fit, reminding himself of Brother Ronaldo's task throughout his life in the part timers.
What are you talking about? Like, I did 4 or 5 campaigns back to back, and I was the goddamn cleric.
But you see, my cleric doesn't put people back together. My cleric goes, I don't know. How much are you willing to part with for my services? You're the one who decided to go running in there and get injured. You're the one who decided to, take those 20 arrows for the rogue when they were being stupid. How much are you going to pay me for this? To use my resources.
One of my new cleric players just entered chat. Hello, Janet from another planet.
Well, see, I think the best cleric I ever saw was they actually had like an HMO type deal where they had to sign off that for every healing and everything else, it cost them gold. It was literally a contract, and they had to sign off on it, and it was essentially like legit like an HMO or something like that in order to be a resurrection. Oh, buddy, you were going to go broke.
One caveat to that: if you are a worshiper of the same god as my cleric, you get a steep discount. A very steep discount. Because you're on the insurance plan at that point.
You're already part of our. You've already been partnered. Yeah.
Right.
I like that. I think the cleric and druid are not given nearly enough love by the fan base of tabletop role players. They really aren't. The fact that Janet jumped into a cleric role, I mean, she's going to witness my favoritism firsthand here. Because I really do like the divine classes quite a bit in this campaign world. This campaign world was once ruled by Orcus, so I mean the clerics are the ones that will save the planet. The paladins and clerics and the occasional crusader that comes out, but it's just how it is, and I think it's a good campaign. I think they've got a lot of fun history. There's Rapanathuk, which is the nastiest dungeon I've ever read. The Slumbering Dark Saga.
But it has the greatest mimic of all time.
It does. I love that mimic. It's just a great campaign role. There's a lot of good stuff in there. Frog God Games does their work right, and I'm waiting for them to have their next big adventure book. But they haven't done one in about 2.5-3 years, and that's fine. We've been getting an adventure every month from them. I'm pretty happy. Everybody here, we're getting ready to wrap. Yeah, we're at 2 hours. I mean, we can continue going, but Kyle will pumpkin out, and I really don't want that to happen. So
I didn't know he lived in Morton.
It is that month.
The month of stench.
When all those rotting pumpkins from the field start getting blown to the west.
You drive into town and all you smell is the stench of pumpkin. And it blows everywhere along the valley. Like, you meet East Peoria and you can smell it. You're like, what the fuck's going wrong? Well, I'm nowhere near Morton. What the hell's going? What's the stench going on? Oh, it's pumpkin. Ugh.
Yeah.
I met a few Air Force guys that were up in Chillicothe once, and they were asking me why it smelled like pumpkin up there, and I'm like, "What? You can smell it up here? I can smell it in Deer Creek. That's just like 6 miles down the road. It's understandable. But Chillicothe, are you serious?"
Yes.
But apparently the pumpkin stench will drift, and that lake just propels it up and over. It's like giving your friend a boost up and over that wall. Yeah.
I can taste it.
I there's a lot of reasons why I don't mind fall, but the one thing that if I ever hated the fall, it would be because I do not absolutely value pumpkins. I don't like pumpkin spice. I don't like pumpkin pie. I pass that along to the next person, and I wish them the best. I hope you enjoy this. This was my serving, which I'm gifting to you.
Wait. You're telling me that you don't sport Duke Cannon's basic pumpkin spice bitch soap?
I will buy it for somebody else.
Just asking.
One of me, I would rather lather up in the grease pit that I was at earlier today, which has been neglected for 4 years. It is a facility where they make food. If the city of San Antonio ever decided,
All right, Jade.
why is this sewer polluted right here? Why is there a lot of grease right here in the sewer? Is this trap not working well? That company would have there would be a regional story on it, and the people of Texas would look at their patron saint of Mr. Butts, the man who started at HEB. What are you doing to our favorite store? They would get their Karen out and their haircut, which goes over their one eye. You know how. Anyway, you would see this. But what should we talk about next week? Chimerian had a really good suggestion.
Actually, I think that we should go ahead and do that. If you want to do that, we will do that.
I was just proposing it as one of the many options, in case everyone had other options that are better than mine.
Well, we're talking about the twitchies.
No, the narrative versus simulationist versus gamist. The eternal struggle to find balance and equilibrium.
That was a good movie.
Yes.
Great title.
I like the one Child's Son made me watch.
You know, Connell, I never forced you to watch the Star Wars holiday
Christmas.
special.
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, you also live in Texas now, there, Hoss. That's not going to be an option.
Yeah, but the thing is that I have Discord and I have Gilded.
I'll just pick it for my pick, Connell.
You'll get an invite. Don't worry.
Fuck my life.
You'll watch this thing, and then you too will be like, "What the fuck did I just watch?"
Okay.
So we go with equilibrium and game.
Hi, classy.
Fuck you.
I can't win. That's what he's thinking right now, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
I can't win.
Fine, we're playing Oriental Adventures.
Yes, yes.
So next week we'll talk about that, and I hope you guys really look forward to that, because that sounds like it'd be a very good conversation where we discuss just various aspects of the game, keeping it a game, keeping it a narrative, trying to balance those two. That's going to be fun.
You trying it at home?
Yep.
All right, everybody. So, real quick here, we'll kind of go around the table and get everybody. We'll roll out here. Jade, what you got coming up this week?
On Saturday, I'm going to be over at your place playing some Cyberpunk, I believe. Correct?
Oh, lucky you!
And it'll be streamed live on my YouTube channel.
Right.
Or that I'll be, playing a different
The other
game.
thing I've got coming up. The other thing I've got coming up is I'm going to be trying to get some more content generated. I do have another one shot that's about an hour and a half long. I'm segmenting up into 30-minute sections. So I'm going to be putting that up in the near future, and then I'm hoping to get some game mastery videos and maybe delve into the world lore of my Bronze Era game and start putting up some lore videos of the world game. Yeah.
Nice. Myself, I will be doing. I have the Cyberpunk game that's going to be session 3. It'll be at roughly about between 6 and 6:30 Central Standard Time. Those of you that will be joining Bruce's stream, you'll see the rollover to mine, be able to click the button. As long as he doesn't go until like 10:30, 11 o'clock at night. Bastard. But I also will be on Saturday, actually tomorrow night, and on Saturday afternoon, I will be having doing Twitch, so you can come see me attempt to play some video games. Maybe very well, maybe very bad. I don't know yet because I don't know what I'm going to be playing. But tomorrow will be roughly at about 4 p.m. Central Standard Time. So it'll be a couple hours before the Legion of Myth stream kicks off. So yeah.
I want to ask, have you downloaded and played Daggerfall Unity yet?
I haven't. I know I haven't. I have not played it.
Okay. Let me know when you do.
Oh yeah. Well, and the thing is that a bunch of friends of mine have started playing on a Red M server, which is kind of like a 5M server, but for Red Dead Redemption.
Okay.
It's a role play type server, so I may be doing a little bit of that since they've been hounding me, and it took me like 2 days to download the client. So yeah, I was not amused with that. Damn you, peer-to-peer networks! But yeah, so Connell, what have you got going on this weekend?
Well, after this show wraps up, we're going to do an after party. If I can get a few people to see if they're interested, maybe Victor, maybe Omen, maybe Shadow, depends on what he's up to, and do a after Tablebreakers chat. I think is more or less the working title. That's what I'm going to do after we all sign off from here and have our business meeting at the back end. Then tomorrow, you might see me in the chat with over at Max's. Saturday, I've already been spoken for. Sorry, Garrett.
It's okay. Didn't want you to watch anyway.
I'll be hanging out with the cooler kids. Because we got Scott. That Scottish kid makes up for almost everybody else.
Oh, Joe is amazing. I actually was the one that got Joe hooked up with Bruce, and it has worked out so well. Joe is amazing.
So that's what I'm doing Saturday. Sunday, we will be reviewing some god-awful piece of shit movie that Jack, Shadow's son, recommended for us. I'm trying to find a nice way to put this movie other than, as Socrates once said, I drank what? That's what I got going on Sunday. I'll be joined by Shadow and Jack, maybe Mark, and see who else is also around and want to hop in on that one. And next Saturday, I'm going to put somebody on the spot right now. Baron, you served in the armed services. No, you come back here. Redhead leprechaun.
I've seen this before.
I would if I did not already have plans for next time.
All right. Well, let me see if I can get some other poor sucker. I mean, honored vet to come talk to me. So, with that being said, that's what I got going on. I am the Scar DM. If you don't know me by now, watch these guys. I'm normally somewhere in the background.
Reto, what do you got going on this week?
Right after this show, I'm supposed to do a craft video with my son pertaining to the superhero month that we've been doing all month. And it'll be pretty much more or less the last superhero video we're going to do for like a year because we're a little burnt now. Then Friday, I'm doing possibly 2 videos reviewing 2 different books, the Unearthed Arcana from AD&D, and then part 3 of my Arduin series. And then Saturday, obviously, Bruce's game. Sunday is our show-off show where we show off all the crafts and paint jobs that we did for the month of September. That's always a lot of fun. And then starting a whole new week with, bringing on the Halloween festivities. We'll be doing an entire month of Halloween-oriented videos between book, game, and movie reviews, Halloween crafts for your tabletop, and who knows what else, maybe a couple of, live streams up until Halloween, in which case we might do a live Halloween video. Not sure yet.
All right, sounds good. Got a lot going on over there, and yes. And last but not least, Brucifer. Since it is close to that time of year, I can break that old name out. And what do you got going on besides craziness on Saturday?
Well, aside from that, I'm gonna release sometime tomorrow the first in a few videos doing a series on the Dungeon Delvers game by David Guile. It's a $20 PDF off of BigGeekEmporium.com, which I recommend anybody that's got PDF desires to go to BigGeekEmporium.com because that is a fantastic little website. The guys that run it are just fantastic people, and I recommend everybody get acquainted well with Randy and Joe. They're just easy, down-to-earth men. And I mean, I would be happy to have them at a table for either me running or one of them running a game. But they've got a super little website. They're going to make a lot of money over the course of time because they're not giving out anything but the lion's share to each of these creators that put up their PDF on this site, unlike Drive-Thru RPG or other sites that are like that. And I think that's really important. They're giving independent people a voice. Guys like the Red Room, guys like Adventure Satanis, people that are getting blacklisted across the web. So I'm going to start detailing this RPG, Dungeon Delvers. We're going to go a few chapters at a time. I might read the entire thing verbatim, or I might just skip over it in this paragraph. They talk about this. Here's some artwork for this, and just go through a slow 15-minute, like just as you see as you get type video where I've got the camera over my shoulder or holding it while I page through this. And I want you guys to, if you get a chance to check it out, you will. You'll see that I'm trying to be as objective as possible, trying to be very critical of it. And I think that that's going to be something really important because you have now a big change in the landscape because they're trying to shift from 5th edition to an online edition. And I don't think it's going to work out well for the majority of people. There's going to be a minority that go with it. I mean, Jim Jones had people drinking Kool-Aid. That's all I'm going to say. But I'll be doing that tomorrow night. Then I'll check out with Max and the chill stream. Saturday is game day. Sunday, hopefully, Machini is done being a artist that's not present. So he'll be running his stream, and I'll be co-hosting with him and Mads Mama Bear. Monday. Me and Janet are going to be reviewing a movie, and my mind completely blanked on it. But yeah, but I recommend swing by and check out me and Janet from Another Planet. We do movie reviews on movies that don't get a lot of love in 2022. And I think the last movie we did was Excalibur, which is one of my new favorite classic movies. After I watched that last week, I've watched it twice since. That's it.
All right, everybody. Well, we definitely want to thank you for joining us tonight. And I'm going. A buddy of mine was in here earlier. I don't know if he's still hanging out here or not. But he's,
NZTP.
yep, my buddy from New Zealand, and I'm going to use his sign off because it's still one of the best I've ever heard. So
Did we skip Jade?
no, we started with Jade.
Okay.
Yeah, we started with me.
Just skip Kai.
Might have to do some time traveling and go back and catch what I said.
Look, the only thing I'm doing between working for 14 days straight before I have to go to a court date is assembling a new paying desk. That's the only thing I'm doing for the next forever.
Forever.
Look, at a certain point when 12 working days in a row just feels like forever, okay?
Oh,
Hey, it could be worse. You could have Bruce's job. That's
Yes.
a shitty job. And
that is a
that's
shitty job. Yes.
No.
indeed.
You can have that job. You know what? You can have it.
You don't want to smell a 40-year-old septic tank that's been buried under a sidewalk, and we had to crack the sidewalk with a mallet and then shovel down 2 feet to get to this tangle of Charmin toilet paper, urine, and like various regurgitated items, along with casual shit.
No, actually, part of me wants to trade you because I don't want to deal with having to fill out and process somebody else's accident report for tomorrow. Because somebody got hit today and we got 24 hours to report it. And that's literally, I'm walking out the door when somebody walks in going, yeah, I got rear-ended. And I'm like, fuck. I'll do it in the morning. I'll do it in the fucking morning. Okay?
I'm not here. You don't see me.
I'm already out the door. I am 2 key presses away from logging out. Go fuck yourself. I'm filling out paperwork tomorrow.
On that note, time is a very finite resource. And you have spent a lot of that resource with us here tonight. And we definitely want to thank you for taking time out of your day to listen to us talk about something we love, which is gaming. So we will catch you all next week where we will talk about the narrative versus simulationism versus gamism. And we will catch you next week. Have a great week, everybody. See you next time.
Thank you.